guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. I bet you didn't see this video coming. I kind of didn't either, but alas, today I'm going to be talking about the Hindash Monochromance Palette. This is the second palette, I believe, from the brand, and this is what it looks like. Now, those ombre powders, they look so special, right? That is what got me. The first palette that came out from Hindash also had the ombre powders, but that palette I feel like was a little bit more basic. It was kind of this first neutral palette, and you can use these powders on the face, on the eyes, like you're meant to kind of have them be multi-purpose, and it just didn't strike my fancy. I thought that it was interesting and a cool concept, but you know, it just wasn't the right palette for me. But when this one came out and it had more like pastels kind of going on, I was excited to try it out, and instead of just wondering, I thought, let's touch it and feel it and see what it's about. So I ordered this baby off the site. It was $70 plus I paid, I think, $7 for shipping. So it is a pricey penny, and I'm excited to use it today for the first time. I bought this with the intention of it being a companion palette, so I probably won't normally use this on my face. I'm gonna do that today just to try it out and see how it goes. But I intend to use this more for just the eyes. But because these are all mattes, I wanted to have, you know, shimmers to pair with, and I did pick out some Clionadh Cosmetics singles. These are all from the stained glass collection, and they all kind of correspond with the colors. So I kept that monochromatic like theming for the shimmers throughout. But yeah, I just thought I would show you that. I'm gonna get into swatches first so you can see this, and then we'll get into the eye look. So here's a close-up of the palette. I feel like you basically get 3-ish shades per pan. You have like the lighter side, the darker side, and kind of this combination of the two, although there's things in the middle. I feel like that's probably the most. And that also kind of depends on this because this palette is more monochromatic than the original. So really you're getting like a light variation of the darker side instead of two more contrasting, absolutely different colors. So the Alter side of Alter Ego is a light tan brown. It kind of shows up a little peachy on me. And I have to say, these powders, the feeling of them is so different than anything I've ever felt before. When it comes to a powder shadow, it's kind of hard to describe. So anyway, the other side, Ego, is more of a cool toned tan. It's like a cool tone tan brown shade. Next we have Match and Made. The Match side is a more yellow toned brown. I feel like it looks more yellow in the pan than it turns up on my skin, but definitely pretty warm. And then on the Made side, it is the deepest brown that we have in the palette. And this one's more neutral, I would say, in terms of tone. So that's Made. Next we have Heavy and Petal. I feel like this is the least ombre out of everything. So on the heavy side, it's a really classic pink shade, like kind of bubblegummy pink. And then on the Petal side, it's that same color, but just a little bit deeper. And I have to say, at least swatching wise, I don't see a huge difference between the two. I definitely think there could have been more gradient between what's light and what's dark in there, just so you could have the biggest range of potential colors. Next are the colors Heart and Throb. I love that name. The Heart side, it is a light, like terracotta, almost orangey type shade. It doesn't have a ton of red necessarily coming through it. And then on the Throb side, you get more of that red. Definitely coming through. It's not like a bright red, it's a little bit deeper. It's really beautiful. Then we have Anti and Dote. On the Anti side is a beautiful, kind of warmer purple. Actually, it looks cool, but it pulls definitely warmer on my skin. And then the Dote side is a deeper purple, very similar to that one actually. And this one, I wish it built up a little bit more depth, a little bit faster, but we'll see how it actually plays on the eyes. And then the last shade is called Forever Inked, and on the light side, Forever, it is a light like aqua-y blue. These definitely don't have tons and tons of pigment in swatches. I'm hoping that they're really buildable though on the eyes. And then on the inked side is a deeper kind of teal blue. This one has probably the most range, I would say, in terms of like a really light blue and a deeper blue, or like a light of the color and the darkest of the color. This one probably has the most range out of all the colors. So that is the palette. I thought I would show you the shades that I picked out from Clionadh just so that you could see kind of what I was thinking. Obviously, I have like tons of shimmers. I just kind of kept with one brand, but I could have gone with lots of other options. So yeah, I definitely think this works well as a companion palette since it is all mattes, like I said. So first, this is the shade Ornamental, and this is a gold with a bit of a green flip on it. It's really beautiful. It's one of the more neutral shades from Clionadh, and so that's why I went with it for that. It's not a perfect match. I definitely could have used another shade if I really wanted to get something super monochromatic, but I wanted to keep it within the brand. This also has a bit of a deeper base on it. It's not too red though, so I think it works well with those colors for Alter and Ego. Next, for Match and Made, I went with a bit of a richer gold called Foiling. This one's not as light and it has a little bit more sparkle to it, has more of a red base as well. I think this one looks really great with those warmer browns, so I thought that one was kind of fun. Next, for Heavy Petal, I wanted to make sure that I had a nice light pink, so this one is called Translucency, and I think that it pairs nicely with it, really brings home the pink that it has going on, and I think it's going to look really good topped over it as well. So if I really wanted to do like an all over pink eye and then top this over everything, I think that would look great. For Heartthrob, I played up that kind of orange side and the red, so I went with Blaze. This is a golden kind of peachy shade, so it has that flip on it, and I think it pairs with this one really, really well. Definitely taking it away from like as pastel and springy as this could be. This one looks a little more summery. There's a lot of warmth to it, and I think it'd look good too going into fall even. For Anti and Dote, I went with a purple. Obviously, I wanted to go again with something kind of light so we could really bring home the pastel feel of this palette. This is called Glazed, and it has a golden kind of reflect to it. I could have gone with another purple shade, but I think that one will be cool. And then last, to pair with Forever and Inked, I went with Abrasion. This has a purple reflect to it, but it also has a nice blue going, and I just think that it's stunning. So yeah, those are the shades I decided to put with it. Of course, I could have chose non-duochromes. I could have chose tons of other stuff, but I think that they pair really fun together. And again, I just wanted to show you in the video how I intend to use it, because there's no way I wouldn't pair these shades with another shimmer. And yeah, I definitely look at this palette and think of all the shimmers I have in mind to use with it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing the swatches. I hope that was helpful. These definitely don't swatch amazing. They're not like so many of my indie shadows that I can just like dip my finger in barely and they just swatch forever. So I'm excited to see how they actually perform on the eyes. Because this is from like a makeup artist brand, I'm honestly not surprised to see something that can be built up, and that's what I'm expecting them to do. So I'm gonna zoom us in and let's get started on the look. I'm gonna prime my lids with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. I wanted something translucent instead of with color, at least just for the priming aspect, because I'm not sure if I want to use a base or not. I want to do a purple look today. That's like what I was planning, so we'll see how that goes. I did bring out a purple shadow stick. This one's just from Wet n Wild. This does not set though, so that's why I'm still using a primer. Anyway, I think I want to use the purple. I think I'm just gonna do it. So I'm going into the lightest part of the pan at the very edge, like not getting any of the other color. I mean, I really have to swirl for there to be any kind of kick up. So that's interesting. Like I said, these are very interesting in terms of like how they feel on my fingers. I've never really experienced it. That's thin and kind of slippery and powdery. It's almost like when you put on a glove and there's like a powdered inside, you know, so that way when you're sweating, it's kind of sopping it up a little. That's kind of the feeling. It's like that. Does that make sense? Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just, that's the feeling. It actually feels quite luxe, but I'm just putting this color anyway here at the front of my eyes, and then I'm gonna put the darker color toward the back, but I'm just gonna build some of this up. I think I might need some time to do that. So far it looks good, but it's definitely sheer. So there it is. That's kind of one layer or so. I don't know how I feel so far. I'm gonna go into the bottom half now. I'm gonna start working on the outer edge and see if I can actually build up the depth, because obviously that's super important for a palette like this. I feel like that's kind of the point, you know? So I wanna see if I feel like it's actually different. Oh, that looks good. Okay. I feel like in the camera it looks better than what I'm seeing, but let's see. I'm just putting this on the outer corner. I'm going in with more of a fluffy brush, and I'm going back into the lighter part of the purple. I feel like this formula would really work best with real hair brushes. Something about the way the synthetic brushes pick it up, I just don't think is as good, honestly. I just think if you have a coarser brush that's obviously soft on the eye still, but there's something about those bristles I think that this was probably made for, and I think it would work better with. Since it's such a slick formula, I think you need that to like get in there and pick it up. All right, so that's kind of what I have down. I don't think I'm gonna get too much more depth than this out of it, so I think it looks better than I expected, kind of. Based off swatches, like I think I could build up the depth and everything, so that's good. It's definitely like a thin formula, so it's not super powdery in that, you know, there's lots of kick up in the way that you would maybe traditionally think about. I don't know, at least to me. So I don't know, I'm kind of like in this, it's just a new experience, I feel like, for me. Anyway, let's do the lid. I wanted to use that purple shade, so that's what I'm gonna tap on my lid. I'm not gonna pull it up too high. I just wanna see how it looks first. So I'm just tapping that on. I really had a lot of like monochromatic looks in mind when I bought this, so I have a feeling that's what I'll mostly use this for. I think that looks really good. And I took it actually pretty far. I mean, I did my normal thing, honestly. I said I wasn't going to take it too high, and I kind of just took it my normal high that I would, and I took it out quite a bit. I'm going to go back in, though, and just pat over some of that darker purple shade. I have a little bit of fallout, mostly I think from that shimmer, but I'm just brushing that away, hopefully. I don't think I'm gonna really do much on the lower lash line. I kind of want to keep it clean looking. I don't know what I want to do there yet, honestly. But let's do the rest of the face. I'm gonna zoom this out and then I'll finish up the eyes after that. So because these powders are just ombre, you can use them other places. So I thought I would do a little bronzing, contouring, sculpting type stuff. I'm just gonna use a fluffy brush, and I feel like, you know, it fits in there quite nice. I tried to use new brushes that I haven't used that aren't dirty, because I was like, oh, I don't want to get other product. I really want to know what's coming off, but usually what I use are real brushes from REFERRAL, like real hair brushes. And I think, again, I think they would do better than the synthetic. It just doesn't pick it up, and I can already see a little bit of hard pan forming here. So it's not a palette I really want to like swatch, I feel like, too much and put my fingers in. Okay, I definitely think that added a bit of like a chisel to my face. It's definitely not very warm, so it doesn't look like I have like bronzer on or anything, but I can definitely see the sculpting on my cheekbones. And again, that kind of like subtleness is coming through with this palette. So if you're used to like, or at least when I use Natasha Denona, I'm always like, barely tap my pencil in or my brush in because I don't want too much pigment. I just want to have a little more control. That is like the opposite thing of this to me so far. This is like you can really go in or build up slowly and have that type of control. But I feel like with that control and that sheerness and the buildability equals, it takes a little more time to do that. You're not going to get full pigmentation up front at all ever with this palette. And I say ever as in my first impressions using this right now. Okay, now let's do some blush. I'm going to be using just an angled, this is a synthetic dual fiber, so we'll see how it goes. I'm honestly tempted between both of these. I kind of like the idea of the peach though. I love pairing like a peachy and a purpley thing together. So I'm just going to go into more of the heart part of Heartthrob, so like the lighter part, and see. Oh yeah, that's really beautiful. See, I think that this formula definitely, because it's sheer, does make it easy to use onto the face, because I think that looks so stunning. And I think that the formula of it also works well where it's kind of slippy for blendability, that type of stuff. I think that's really beautiful. I wish it had shimmer, but you know, I'll get over it. I think I like it for blush the most so far. I think that looks so good. I am gonna do some highlighter, so I'm using this one from Natasha Denona. I'm using this Big Sigma brush, and I'm just going to highlight my cheekbones. I'm also gonna finish up my eyes right now, so I'm gonna zoom you back in. This is what the cheeks look like also. I think that highlighter looks so good over top that blush. I really like the way that looks because I've been doing a bit more of like a blown out highlighter look than something super targeted, and I feel like it almost makes the blush look shimmery. So I kind of got my wish. I'm gonna use the same highlighter on my brow bone and also my inner corner. I mean, my eyeshadow looks really good. Like blending wise, the colors blended super well. It's just a little different. Okay, you know what I did? I brought over a brush. I cleaned this off, but it's kind of stained, but this is a real hair brush. So I kind of wanted to see if I could tap this on and how it kind of picks up product compared to the synthetic. So I'm putting it in there. Oh, I really think that the key to this palette is also really luxury brushes. The luxury palette needs the luxury brushes, y'all. I just think that's gonna make this shine and make it so easy to use. I think it looks really good, you guys. For lower lash line, I am gonna use a little bit of a purple liner. This one's from Pixie, and it's in the shade Matte Mulberry. I just want a little bit of depth, so I'm trying not to blow it out too much or bring it out too much. I just think it will finish the look. I'm not even gonna really like buff it out too much. And then I'm using the Milk mascara, the new one, the Rise, and putting on my lashes, see what it looks like. Oh, and I'm gonna put inner corner too. I forgot to do that. I feel like this Rise mascara honestly is so volumizing for it being like more for lengthening. I mean, it lengthens, but I really feel like I get some volume. Okay, do not want to forget the inner corner. Let me do that. All right, guys, so here's the final look. I'm pretty much all the way zoomed in. I think that it blended out stunningly, like so good. And I can see that light to dark situation going on. I feel like that darkness kind of snuck in there. I didn't know if it was going to get this dark. It's definitely not a dark palette, don't get me wrong. Like, it doesn't go to the depths of the ocean for depth, but I do think that it's enough of a difference, more than I maybe thought once I swatched it. I mean, you see it in the pan, but swatching it, I was a little scared because it was, I'm trying to ruin the palette. But swatching it, I was a little scared. So I think it looks great. I really like that I didn't do anything on the lower lash, and I think it keeps it clean and more modern. I am excited. I don't know. And I think this came out with a liquid eyeshadow, and I really think that liquid eyeshadow would go so great with all of these shades. So I have stuff like that, so I didn't need that one, but I do think that was a good release with it too. But yeah, there's the eye look. You'll have to let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, so here we are all zoomed out, and I want to give you some of my first impressions thoughts on the palette. So first off, this is a steep steep purchase, 70 bucks. I mean, that's more than like a midi palette from Natasha Denona, and in there you're getting like 15 more distinct colors, whereas in here you're getting like 12, I guess, but they're all very similar. I don't know, it just feels like a little bit less because they all are a variation of each other in a different way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like less, even though I get that the concept is that you can mix things and make more colors. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to get this. I really wanted to test out, like, is this kind of, I don't want to call it gimmicky because it's too pretty and too professional to be something along the lines of, like, I don't know, the Benefit thing where you roll the thing in and then just roll it on your eyes. Like, it's not gimmicky in that way, but I do think that these ombre powders in here, the fact that you can use it kind of all over, is a thing that makes it different. And that's usually what I feel like gimmicks do. They kind of make it stand out. And I feel like the way that this is done has that similar effect, and it caught my eye, man. I definitely think this is unique to what's on the market in this exact way, and it made me interested and intrigued. And so, you know, when a color story I felt like I could get down with came out, I bought it. I want to mention packaging really, really fast because it's very sturdy. The mirror is really nice, but this is just like it feels just like cardboard out here. So this is gonna look effing disgusting, like so fast, because it's this light pink. There's no way to wipe this down. I feel like if I were to wipe it, it would almost leave the stain of that. So I really wish this had, I know it wouldn't look as good because there's something about the matte packaging that looks very nice and it's very aesthetic, but like use-wise, it's gonna get fucked up. It's gonna get so bad. If you thought that the velvet on the outside of ABH palettes was bad, worse. This is gonna be worse, I just know it. Anyway, I just had to bring that up because, yeah, it's gonna be an issue. As for formula and how these worked, my eye look I think looks stunning. I think it looks amazing, and I was kind of getting nervous swatching and feeling these. When I initially got this, I put my fingers in and was like, whoa, I literally thought, like, I've never felt anything like this. The feeling of these eyeshadows is so thin yet powdery and silky in a different way than I've ever experienced. So it's like a whole new world here using this palette. Like I mentioned throughout, I definitely want to continue using it more with my real hair brushes. I just think that's going to be an easier time using the product and building it up. I don't think I'm gonna have to build up as much if I have the right brushes. So that's just something to keep in mind for you at home. And if you're having trouble with it, I definitely think that this does seem like a powder that might be prone to getting hard pan. So I'll keep you guys updated with that, which is not something I'm excited about. But again, I think the real hair brushes will help with that. I loved this most as a blush. Like, I think my blush looks so good today. I think it looks nice with it. And I think this formula, this kind of buildable formula, works so nice for the blush. I honestly just want blushes from the brand. That's what I'm gonna be on the lookout for, I can tell you that much. I think they're gonna be stunning and beautiful. And I really think that this is, you know, I could tell it's like a makeup artistry palette to me anyway. Like, just with how they are, they remind me in some ways, I guess, of MAC shadows or just a more buildable formula. It's definitely not giving you that punch and pow. And if you're someone who loves color and you're excited for this because it is more colorful, just don't expect, you know, Natasha Denona mattes. Don't expect really, really punchy mattes up front. I think you can build it up and get there, but you know, it's for building, I think. So those are kind of my first thoughts. I'm trying to think. I want this to be as helpful as possible. I'm in the middle. I literally don't know. Like, I love my eye look and I want to see how it wears tonight. I thought it wasn't going to come together, but I think it looks great right now. So I'm excited actually to keep testing it. I think it might be something I really enjoy, but I do think there's a bit of a learning curve. And again, I'm really not using eyeshadows like this in my collection. I just don't feel like I have anything quite like this in formula. So it is a bit of something new for me to like explore and see how it works. And it's kind of exciting, but kind of like baffling. So that's my first impressions, honestly. I think that the ombre powders are beautiful. I think it's exciting to use right now. I don't think it's a must-have at this point. I don't know, but I think it's pretty. I think it's expensive. I think it's different. And that's like really all I can say for sure. All those things. But I'd love to know, did you guys pick this up? Have you got the first palette? How did you like that? I'd love to hear your experience with that because I kind of just wasn't interested in it, so I don't really know much about it other than I looked at it and was like, no, not for me, move on. But yeah, I'd love to know any of your thoughts. Are you thinking about picking this one up? If you have it, like I said, let us know your thoughts. But I hope this was helpful at all. I'll definitely be keeping you updated with this one because I do think it's quite different and it's going to be so perfect going into spring. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an amazing day and I will see you in the next video. Okay, I was ending the video, but then I tried to take a thumbnail and I tried to just pull this back and fold it backward and it's like picking up. Look at that. So that's really disappointing considering how expensive this is, and also that I don't think it's absurd to want to do this with it. So anyway, just thought I would add that really fast. But yeah, okay, bye.